So today I'm making, it is my first live cooking demonstration, so I chose something pretty easy and really super yummy. I've made it 2 nights in a row for dinner in the past. I always try to combine, especially in the summer when it's really hot outside and nobody really feels like cooking. Okay, I do, but I try to do things that combine health and all of the food groups. So one day I was at home and it was dinner time, and I was literally just digging through my refrigerator, and I came up with this pasta salad, and my kids love it, and it has tons of fresh vegetables in it. It's my summer Sizzling pasta salad. So basically I cook, and I wish I had people to pre-cook things at home. Wouldn't that be great? But I cook a pound of pasta, and I like these corkscrew ones, but you can really use anything. And I chop a lot of vegetables into it, and my key is usually that I chop the vegetables really fine. My kids love vegetables, but I feel like the smaller you chop it, they don't really know it's there. And it adds color, and it makes it really yummy. So I start with, I don't like big chunks of broccoli, so I decided to I literally just basically mow the broccoli. Like, I just chop it really super fine, and just do a little bit of this. Just make it really little, and it adds color, flavor, and everything else. If I can find a child that won't injure themselves with a knife running through the kitchen, I'll ask them to help me chop. If nothing else, they're very good at running to the fridge and getting me all of the different vegetables. They throw away the trash. Kara's my sous chef usually. And then she makes the little kids her sous chefs. That's how it works. And so basically they just do the stuff that she doesn't want to do. And then I do a whole bunch of tomatoes, and I chop them very, very fine. Again, you can get away with a lot if it's little. So I do a lot of those. I've pre-chopped them in the back so I can just talk. And I add about 1.5 cups of chopped tomatoes. And then, let's see, what do we want to do next? So the thing that I love most about this pasta salad is I had a big old box of spinach in my fridge that day. And we do a lot of sautéed spinach and a lot of spinach salads. And so I just got it out, and I thought, what if I just chop this like super, super tiny and make it really, really little and a lot of it. And so it just sort of became like a little teeny tiny vegetable salad. And I don't chop correctly because I'm just a mom and I'm not a chef. So if I do it all wrong, just ignore me. I'm having fun. My goal when I'm cooking at home is to not chop my fingers off while I'm yelling at kids. I've been known to wield a knife improperly while I'm pointing. Don't do it. It's not good. But I learned that from my mom because she did that to us. So that's what I do with the spinach and throw it in. Thank you. So I do a lot of that spinach. The next thing, I'll take cucumbers, chop them like this in quarters, and then I just do a really, really tiny little this. I love cucumbers. We all love cucumbers. The thing that I found with this pasta salad too is I've made it enough times that if you are anti-carb, which I tend to be sometimes, you can majorly decrease or totally omit the pasta, and it's still insanely delicious. Okay, after that, I have a whole bunch of fresh herb plants growing on my windowsill, so I thought I'll just finely chop or tear some basil leaves and add that. I'm addicted to basil. And then I threw some very finely chopped roasted red peppers in here. It adds color and flavor. Some finely chopped onion. I use red onion a lot for the additional color, makes it really pretty, but you can really use any onion that you want. And my favorite feta cheese, I'm a total feta cheese addict. I use the tomato basil flavored, and so I throw a bunch of that in. This is not actually in my cookbook, but I've had a request from my kids to add sliced black olives since it went to print. And I started adding those. And if you want to make it a complete, total dinner, because this is a side as is, but I started adding hard-boiled egg and chicken or tuna. So, sorry. And this is really how I cook. It might be sloppy and horrible, but oh well. So you can add, for the protein, you can add hard-boiled egg. We have over 50 chickens, so I tend to try to add egg to everything. And that adds good protein. And then you can also add a chicken breast, chopped finely, to make it a total, complete dinner. And let me just do some of that quick. Toss in the dressing. I like to use, there's an organic garlic herb dressing packet that I use. You can use my balsamic vinegar dressing that's in the cookbook. You can use a packet of Italian dressing. It really doesn't matter, but my favorite is the garlic herb. And let me just mix that up and add it. If I was in my kitchen, I'd be spinning around here. So I'm just going to toss this all together. Let me look here. Just mix it all up. This bowl belongs in my kitchen. It's huge. Toss, toss, toss. Add our dressing. I usually make this and with one packet and let it rest, and then the next day I add a second packet because the pasta absorbs it. But you are done. Ta-da! And I think you get to try it. I think there's some back there. Yay. That's it. Dinner's ready.
They're dishing it up. They're going to bring it out in a few seconds to you guys. You guys have any questions about the cookbook? Raise your hand. Question about the cookbook? Right here.
Hi, Kate. I was wondering what your favorite recipe in your cookbook is.
I am asked that a lot, and like my kids, it's hard to pick a favorite. They're all in there for a reason, for, ways to get kids to eat healthier, quick, fast, wonderful recipes, ones that have memories in our family, ones that the kids specifically requested. That's probably the funniest one, my macaroni and cheese, tuna and peas. The kids made sure I put it in the book, and it's boxed macaroni and cheese, tuna and steamed peas mixed together. It's like oh my gosh, we have to be in the car in 25 minutes, and what in the world is for dinner? And it's their favorite to the point where they requested it this last year for their birthday meal. The little kids, I was like, are you kidding me? They were like, yes. And I was like, okay, consider it an easy birthday for me. So there's all different ones, and they all have little stories in the book to tell you how I came up with it, where it came from, and so on.
We got another question back here.
Hi, Kate. It's great to see you.
Thanks.
I wanted to say on the lines of this throwing things together, when I make noodle soup from a package while the water's boiling and before I put the noodles in, I put chopped celery and, carrots. And then for a bedtime snack, you got some vitamins in there because it boils with the water, and then you put the noodles and the flavoring in, and it's just a little more substantial. And
Always
I dig
packing
what
in
you're
the vegetables.
doing there. Yeah, thank you.
Yep, definitely.
Good question. Right here?
So I heard you mention that you have chickens. Do you take care of them, or that sounds like you already have 8 kids,
And 50 chickens.
and 50 chickens? Like, how does that work out?
Well, it started as a small addiction, and then we ended up with so many chickens, and actually the boys take care of them. It's like their little man barn and man zone down there. And obviously I oversee, and I'm the one lugging the chicken food and all of that stuff, but they're organic chickens and they lay way more eggs than you can even imagine. So eggs are a big topic in our house, and it's actually really fun. It's like a little tiny mini farm. The kids want to know when we're getting a cow so we can have our own milk. That's where I draw the line.
I'm so with that. Right here?
I just want to know, where can you purchase the book from, and what's the quickest recipe in it?
Maybe somewhere
Right here in the
nearby.
bookstore. After
Right
she's done,
here.
we'll sign it. Yeah.
Yes. And the quickest recipe, as far as what's for dinner, it depends. There's a lot to chop and throw in a crock pot, and it's sitting there smiling at you at the end of the day. And that silly macaroni and cheese, tuna and peas is super fast. They're all centered around, nobody has time to spend all day in the kitchen anymore. But to me, it's important that you don't sacrifice nutrition because you don't have the time. So there's a lot of ways to make a balanced, healthy, substantial meal, and you're not spending, like, who has all day to be in the kitchen? So, you're welcome.
We're over here.
I didn't quite hear. Did you? Is that a vegetarian dish that you made right now?
It can be, but I added chicken and.
Oh man, I can't eat it then.
Well, you can omit the chicken and hard-boiled egg.
Do you have a lot of vegetarian dishes in your book, or a few?
There are some, yes, because I personally don't eat red meat, but there's red meat dishes I feed my kids. I do it all.
Question? Right here? Right beside.
What do you make for a quick meal for yourself when you're not cooking for your kids?
There's 2 of my favorites that are my staples. My Kate salad, K8 salad, and it's my version of a wonderful garden salad that has protein in it as well. And what I typically do with that is it's a lot of chopping. So I save old takeout, I get them at a restaurant store, but they're like the takeout containers, the plastic ones, and I'll chop enough for about 4 or 6 salads at once and stack them in my fridge, and they last a good couple of days, so that your chances of grabbing something healthy versus something crunchy and fast, increases. There's also my Mediterranean wrap, which is a veggie wrap with hummus and different vegetables, very flavorful, very good, and I'll eat some veggie chips with it sometimes and call it all super quick. Don't have a lot of time, but I would rather grab that than something not so good.
I was wondering if you could highlight some of the desserts in the book, if there are any.
My 2 favorites would be our Gosselin chocolate birthday cake, which you may have seen on our show. It's a layered chocolate cake with chocolate mousse icing that is, I can't even resist it. I try, not happening. It is very moist. I've made it for friends. I've mailed it to people for their birthdays before because they've had it and they weren't nearby, so I've actually packaged it. That was it got there whole and in one piece and lovely. But the thing with that is I Gosselin-ize it. I cover it in the kids' favorite candy because it's a dark chocolate icing. And so I cover it in, M&Ms or gummy bears. I've done all kinds of crazy candy. And so that's the one. And my other one is my Scrumptious Berry Crisp, which is just oozing of berries, and it has an oatmeal and very yummy, doughy top to it with vanilla ice cream. Forget it.
Did you always like to cook, or were you forced into it because you had 8 mouths to feed?
I have always loved to cook. Thank goodness. My first Thanksgiving dinner that I made was probably when I was 22. And, I think everybody lived through the experience, but over the years I've gotten better and better, and it's become a hobby. When I'm happy, I find myself cooking. When I'm really stressed out, I find myself in the kitchen making up a new recipe. And so my grandma's to thank for that. She used to let us wreck her kitchen, and we'd run off and play because we were bored, and she'd clean it up every time.
Favorite. So what do you make in the morning when your kids are like going to school, but you want to make something that they'll be full until lunch?
Maddie and Kara are the famous ones that come down the stairs and run out the door, turning into teenagers soon. They don't have time to sit and eat breakfast. So their favorite muffin is in the book. It's my cranberry banana muffin, and it's got all the grains and all the good stuff in it, yet it's grab and go. So that has really helped me. But I do different pancakes. There's a pancake recipe in the book. This is not in the book, but my Mommy Donald's sandwich, McDonald's, like the breakfast sandwich with the English muffin, and always centered around nutrition. And I'm up cooking in the morning for them because I don't want them just to have, it's too long of a day, it's too important to have a bowl of cereal and go.
Do you think eventually you'll have a cooking show?
A lot of people ask me that, but I would love to. I love being in my kitchen. I'm there a lot by choice. And I would not be opposed because for some strange reason, I do talk while I'm cooking. I talk while I'm doing everything, but I talk while I'm cooking, and my kids actually pull up the chairs at our island and they go, "Mommy's cooking show." Every time. I mean, like every day. I'm like, is this not old yet? And I'm explaining as I go. And I think I wrote this book finally. I didn't really have faith in myself to write a cookbook originally because I was like, oh, I just cook, like whatever. And my kids finally said, "Mommy, are we going to have your recipes someday when we're mommies so we can cook for our kids?" And I was like, okay, I'll do it. It was a lot of work because I cook just by taste 99% of the time. So I had to discipline myself and sit and measure throughout the whole book to make it right. And that was definitely a job. It was a fun job. I'm glad it's done. I love how it turned out.
Any advice you would give to any of our audience members who may want to write a cookbook?
May want to write a cookbook? Oh, segment off a lot of your time. It took a lot of time. I think just for people cooking in general, my advice would be you don't learn unless you make mistakes. And you only learn how flavors and different ingredients combine well by trying it out. And over the years, different ingredients that I don't use, I'm trying to expand my horizons and think about things like, parsnips, what could I do with those? And that's different things pop into my head, and then I do some research and start thinking about it and try to make something yummy out of it. But you can't do it. Nobody is the perfect cook. So give it a try. If it's terrible, just don't write it down and don't do it again.
Yes, I'd like to know, did John have any favorite recipes?
Well, I don't really cook for him anymore because we've been divorced for 4 years. So this is basically my kids' favorite recipes and mine.
What was the worst thing that you ever made?
When you have 8 kids, your tendency to burn things does increase. So probably something that was burnt. I recall recently, I'm to the point now where there's just so much going on in my house. I announce when I have the broiler on. Announcing, remind me that I have the broiler on. I do it all the time, or else, you walk. I don't know why I can't just stand and watch it because there's so much happening, but I've actually announced and I've heard little voices, "The broiler's on, thanks." Whew, just in time.
Hi, Kate. Have you seen an interest in any of your kids in cooking? Since you, work on your book, have you noticed any?
Yes, definitely. Kara. In fact, one of the recipes in the book I named for Kara, Kara's sausage bean bake, because I was on a flight to LA one time and was not asleep and was not awake. I was sort of just not thinking about anything, and the ingredients just popped into my head. And so I opened my eyes, got out my phone, and wrote it down. And when I came home, I was excited. That's not rare. That does happen. I know. I don't understand it. But when I got home, I showed Kara the note, and she actually added a few. She said, "Oh, and this, and this might be good in there." And we mixed it up, and certainly it became an immediate, I think it got a 9 out of 10. My kids rate my dinners. it became an instant 9 out of a 10. So she definitely has an interest, and boys and girls alike will help chop, will help get stuff out. We are all involved in it, but there are those days that nobody's really interested in helping, and I remind them of, the little red hen, she was doing this and that to make bread, and do you want to, nope, I don't want to help, nope, I don't want to help, nope, I don't want to help. We talk about that sometimes too, and then of course, when do they all show up? When it was time to eat. So I try to curb that, but it's fun. I mean, we often play music and dance while we're, I try not to dance, they do, and while we're mixing and cooking together. So the kitchen is a fun place for us, and I'm just lucky that they love to eat, and I'm always trying to conquer that, well, I don't like that, and make it in a way that they'll say, oh wow, this is really good.
Do any of your children have any allergies or aversions to any certain foods? Or?
No allergies, fortunately, and aversions I don't really tolerate. So that's just what a lot of moms, email and say, my child just will not eat this, and my advice is put a little on their plate every single time and keep putting it there and praise them when they take a bite and encourage them to take another bite. And that's really what I did from the very beginning, because the more you allow them to control, the smaller your ingredient base is going to get, and not happening. I am not a short order cook.
I had a question, since you had such a big family. Actually, I come from a big family, the oldest of 10, but I don't know if I remember my mother doing this. But how do you schedule cooking time? How much time do you spend in the kitchen? And do you do meals ahead of time, freezing, that kind of thing? The organization of your kitchen time.
Yes, definitely. If you're, the short quick meals still take think ahead, what do I have? So I start with, most people call my house basically a mini grocery store. So I keep pretty much everything on hand. At any one time, I could open my book, for example, and make anything in there, more or less. And so I think that started back when I was at home with no way to get out with, 8 kids, 5 and under. So if I didn't have an ingredient, forget it. Not like I was going to the store to get it. So the organization, the planning ahead, defrosting meat for whatever tomorrow. And there is some plan ahead that I'm always doing. I'm always thinking food amongst everything else. And beyond that, I will often, if I'm mixing up a casserole, for example, or whatever, certain things, and that you learn as you go along, and I help you in the book telling you certain things freeze, certain things don't. So I'll typically mix up 2, because if you're going to get everything out, to mix up, a 9 by 13 casserole, I'll typically mix up enough for 2 and freeze one, label and freeze with instructions in case I have a babysitter, I'm out of town, she's got it right in front of her, and I'll bake one for dinner. And also on the instructions I put serve with whatever the sides would be. And so I try to do that and have a stash of meals in the freezer at any one time. I'm famous for making, and I try to scale down when I make soup, but it just does not happen. I've often moved pots because you cook the chicken carcass, you have this great stock, and it's you have a ton, so you just kind of add ingredients to make enough soup. So 100% of the time, I'm making enough to eat for dinner and to freeze a container of soup. And soup is a great thing to freeze. Pull it out with grilled cheese, and you're good to go. So yeah, I mean, and that to me is an easier treat than, we don't go out to dinner often. There is, everybody get ready, everybody get in the car, sit and wait. So for me to have an extra casserole or a dish or a soup to pull out, that is like a vacation to me.
Are there any vegetarian or vegan dishes in the book that stand out to you?
My Mediterranean wrap, my Kate salad, you can do, you can add meat or you don't have to. There's a lot of play that you can do. My eggplant parmesan, amazing. Does have dairy in it. Don't know how far vegan you're talking, but so there's a lot of different recipes that you can literally just omit the meat. I'm very, if every other food category fell off the planet except for vegetables, I would be in heaven. So I'm very vegetable focused generally.
Baltimore loves Kate Gosselin, I can tell. So
You're a
guys,
very kind first audience. Thank you.